I'm joined by Lawrence Skelly, Minister for Economic Development, and a new website's being launched, locate.im, telling people how to come to the Isle of Man, what to do, and so on. But I mean, take us through why the need and what you're telling people.
Well, we felt there was a need to promote the quality of life at the Isle of Man. We have two other websites, the visitileofman.com website, which actually promotes tourism and the visitor economy, and we have the Where You Can website, which obviously promotes business. But what we didn't have is a website that specifically promotes the Isle of Man in terms of its quality of life. And clearly we're trying to promote the Isle of Man as a place to come and live and work and invest, and we believe this is a good website to do that. It's very strong visuals, and it has a lot of interesting facts and figures there, as well as what we're trying to do is to promote us a viral campaign that people will be able to post on what we call our social wall, and then go off on the social media to promote it.
Oh, it's a jolly site. In fact, we've got some shots of it coming up here. I mean, because it's just, well, it's going to be rosy, isn't it? I mean, it says everything wonderful, everything's beautiful, come here. In fact, I looked at the climate thing, and it says we get the odd gale, the odd bit of rain, like the British Isles, I think is how you've worded it. But, I mean, is that something the government should be doing? Or is it, they are relocating people, there are estate agents out there who must do this sort of thing. Did the government need to get involved?
I think it's about bringing it all together in one place, to be honest with you. The estate agents will be contributing, as would other agencies as well at the same time. But where would you go if you say, well, I've heard about the Isle of Man, I've come here, I know something about it. Where do you find all this information? So yes, this is all about the positivity of the Isle of Man, and it's well worth recognising we're very good about promoting the alternative Isle of Man here on the island, but we do take for granted so many things, our quality of life and some of the community aspects. Think of what's just happened in the last 24 hours, and you see the fantastic community spirit that we have, and safety factor. There's a lot of things there that we all take for granted and we should promote. And one of the biggest things I always find is the visuals, and that's why it's very strong on the visual appeal.
Oh yeah, as I said, it's fabulous, all the GoPros and Will Sutton's stuff.
Yeah.
But seriously, do you think people will actually look at that and make their decisions from it?
I think it'll help them, without a doubt. And at the end of the day, I think a lot of the population of today is quite transient, and the Isle of Man has been very successful in actually attracting people here. And what you do find, and it's quite interesting really, because obviously we're Manx born and bred, and we recognise this, but it's the people actually come to the island to see it through different eyes, and they sort of we call them the new Manx, and because what they do is they promote the Isle of Man sometimes more than what we do, because we're not very natural and out outward in respect to that. So yes, I think it's a positive thing, and that's why we want to promote the social wall. We're using a hashtag there, love IoM. So please go on it and share it.
Well, if a new resident comes over and they've loved what they've seen, they'll need a work permit possibly, and it almost seems a bit odd. I'm saying this in the 21st century, but you've gone online with the work permits. I mean, this is, as I say, a bit of an odd thing to be saying this. Shouldn't this have happened years ago, or is it still a struggle to move yourself over to the paperless systems?
Absolutely, of course it should have happened years ago, and but it's in there with hundreds of other projects that should have happened years ago. What we did as a department, we said there's a number of things that we wanted to achieve that actually makes it easier for doing business on the Isle of Man, and that comes back to the whole of the Enterprise Isle strategy, and we're trying to create this sort of economic ecosystem that makes it easier for people to do business. So an online work permit is very important, and it's quite an emotional process if you're applying for a job and looking for a work permit, as well as the employer eagerly wanting to employ you. Therefore, you can track it as well and know exactly where you're at any particular time.
I think the main thing, I know some people who've been trying to do this process, it's the speed still is an issue, that between the job being offered, them trying to go through the process, and maybe they don't get the job because it's taken too long. Are you still worried about the length of time?
Well, there's a perception out there, isn't there, that the work permit system hasn't been working, and what we've done is done a lot of work, researching this to see how we could enhance it. We made some subtle changes quite recently, and always a difficult one, because the work permit system, we must recognise, is there first and foremost to protect the Manx worker, and it does a very good job.
But you have been removing various people from this protection, haven't you, over the years?
We have, but we've done that in a very measured approach from the point of view that where we've got very clear evidence that we do need people. In other words, there are not local people available to do that, and subsequently, you know, we've done that in with regards to healthcare and other areas just recently.
So you're happy with the way it's going? I mean, besides obviously this moving it electronically, the whole work permit situation, are you just seeing more tinkering around the edges to be done? Or?
Well, we always have that ability to make those changes, and really it's about making those changes that suit our economy, and I think that's very important that we keep that in mind. So I'm happy, yes, and as I say, perception is, you know, there may be some negativity out there, but no, I have to say in my time, and now, well, you know, several years now in DD, prior as a member and now as minister, the actual feedback I'm getting is actually more and more positive, or not hearing at all, which is a positive in itself.
Finally, on this, let's link into you're very happy, apparently, the measures aimed at reducing unemployment, which has fallen, I think you're saying here, between about 10% between October 2014, is that right, and 2015?
Yeah.
These numbers sound very encouraging, but what's the detail behind it? I mean, are these low-paid jobs? What's going on?
There's a variety, and what we are finding is, and I think it's probably a very good indicator about our strengthening of the economy. It was just last month we introduced the increase for the minimum wage, which was substantial increase, and you know, over 2 years now it's nearly 10%. So that does have a knock-on effect, and it's well worth bearing in mind. You know, we have an independent committee that made the recommendation in the first instance, and that included a lot of employers that fed into that. And clearly, you know, if employers are willing to pay a bit more, that means that economy is strengthening. So with you know, that happening, employment has been dropping as well at the same time. So these are positive signs. They're very good trends. I will make the point that there's still a lot of work to be done in particularly the long-term unemployment, the youth unemployment. We want to work, and each one we have to work with them individually to try and understand how we can get them into work, whether it be through training, work placement, and so forth.
To go full cycle back to your website, you proudly say on the front there, I think the average salary in the Isle of Man is around £32,000. There's going to be a lot of people out there aghast that they don't see anywhere near that sort of money. Obviously, you've got some high rollers.
Yeah.
I mean, is that a fair number to really push out?
Well, it's statistic.
It's factual, I know.
Yes, it is factual. It is, and I guess, you know, sometimes it's not always the pay that's the driver for people, and that's why, you know, we thought this website was really important, because we really didn't understand the value of what our quality of life actually brings, because different people will actually want to move to different locations for different reasons, and quality of life is something, you know, as I said before, something we take for granted and really don't, you know, to give it a second thought. But you know what, you know, safety becomes a big issue. You know, where you live and work, you know, what are your recreational opportunities, you know, the stunning scenery, you know, and okay, the weather's not great all the time, but you know what, windsurfers love this type of weather, you know, for example, if you're interested in it. I
mean, a lot falls on your department. I mean, the fall in the house prices is reflective of the way things have gone, those sort of jobs that have left the Isle of Man, whatever, and people, well, there's just slack in the market, isn't there? I mean, your job is to get these extra people over here, the economically active. You want to see, what, 15,000? Is that still something on those numbers?
Well, you know, it's you know, you can get hung up on a number, and I don't really want to do that personally. What we do know is we've got an awful lot of jobs, as highlighted there. You know, 900 plus vacancies, record number of vacancies.
They're real vacancies.
They are.
There's always this thing about, is it just a company putting it in? And they've already filled it internally or something.
Yeah, no, there's been a few challenges on that, and you know, that's a fair case. No, there is no duplication. For example, those ones at the job centre, whilst they may not all be full time, some of them are part time, and we must think that some people want more flexible working conditions today, but they are not duplicated what you see in with the employment agencies. So we're very conscious of that. So, and as I say, if I go back to the work permit issue, if we had local people ready to take these jobs, of course we want them to have it, but the feedback is we can't get them, and you know, and that's coming back not just from the private sector but for government too. So if you think of the social care and the health side of it, you know, the difficult job that, you know, the health department has trying to employ people, and when they can't employ local people, they've got to bring them in on contract, on agency, and the cost of that is absolutely horrendous. So if we can get people to actually be employed in these fields that provide a vital service, you know, to not just the economy but our well-being and social care as well.
you.